we're going to try to soft start our Media air conditioner. And I think I learned the last time that I can turn it on here and it seems to be calling for 74 on the remote here. Put it over into remote mode. It's telling me it's 82 in here and I'm calling for 74. I'm going to go down to 72 and that actually got it going. That's interesting. So you can, even though I'm connected with the app, you can get it going on the remote here. But here's the deal. I'm going to come on here to fan speed. Not going to let me change the fans. Oh, because I'm in auto mode. So I got to go over to cool mode. Fan speed. There we go. So let's get outside and let's see what that does. Starting up, that's a fan speed of about 40%, I believe, is what the remote lets you do. The idea here is if it can't turn the inside fan up, it's not going to run the compressor all the way up to 1200. I want to see if it'll stay below 1000. I have a feeling I didn't reset my watt meter in between takes here. We haven't been really going for 48 minutes. So we're just reading instantaneous wattage here. So again, the inside I've got from the remote, I've got the fan at its lowest setting. I believe that's about 40%. And I'm getting pretty close to 1000 watts. And there it is. All right. So running it from the remote, not good enough to keep you below 1000 watts if that's your inverter limit. No problem if you're on shore power. And as we saw in other videos, it'll go up a little bit, 1300, budget 1300, you'll always be good. I'm gonna shut her down. And there again, I powered it there, but I didn't hear the beep, and I like hearing the beep. So I'm just gonna come up here and hit the power there. Yeah. That shut her off. You'd not notice there too that the swing, this guy was moving up and down. You can shut that off on here. You can shut it off. It's over here, the swing button. You can shut it off on the remote. You can shut it off with the app. I'm gonna let this thing sit for a few minutes and we're gonna try another power up. But I'm gonna use the app next time. I'm gonna limit my fan speed to 10%, see what my peak is outside. See you then. Hello and welcome back to CampHatch. We're messing with my Media portable air conditioner in my Toyota Sienna van. Got it sitting in the front seat, ducked it out the window. Right now I'm going to use the app that Media provides, and I'm going to turn this thing on and immediately put the fan down to 10% on the app. And outside here, we're going to monitor our wattage. So I'll reset this puppy, get that thing started, and come back with another video. Here we go. So we turn this on with the fan speed all the way down to 10%. It's about 10 degrees warmer in the van than the set point that I've got on it. And I just want to see what that fan's gonna do, or what our total power draw is gonna do. The compressor speeds are supposed to not run more than what the unit can cool, and so my hope is to limit this to less than 1000 watts peak draw. Let's see how we do. Now I think how that's actually going to work out is going to depend on temperatures and things, but this will eventually settle down at 10% fan. It'll settle down to about 300 watts. It's just when you first turn it on, it doesn't have the hard inrush of a traditional compressor, but it does come on and slowly ramp up to this, well, now up to 800 watts. And then it goes back down. Really just trying to see, am I gonna stay below 1000? Since I figure a lot of people have 1000 watt inverters that they might try to run one of these on. So there we go. So now we're heading back down. That's what I was hoping for. So that'd be really cool, and maybe the newer models or somebody else's inverter unit doesn't do this. Let's go up to 800 for just a little bit. But 800 is not a bad peak for a 1200 BTU air conditioner. If this was a traditional compressor, it would pull way more. The motor would pull way more than the 1200 at startup at instantaneous. So now, yep, now she's slowing down. So we're pulling 800, didn't get up to 1,000, and we didn't pull it for very long. Let's go over and see what that was. So that's what we've used so far. Back up to 120 volts. Right now we're pulling those amps, and we got up to 813.8 watts. But now we're down to 300, and I don't think it's gonna pull much more than 300 for the duration. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna reset this meter here after I stop this video. I'm gonna close up the van, and I'm just gonna monitor for a while with the late afternoon sun here, and we're gonna see what this thing can do out in the sunshine for cooling 10 degrees on a not too hot day outside and not full sunshine, but with the fan down to 10%, running at about 300 watts, which by a really bad mathematical extrapolation might be about 3,000 BTU, 300 BTU. Let's go 300 BTU. 3,000 would be a really bad extrapolation. Let's say it's running about 300 BTU. So we'll come check on it after a while. So here's the hour into the let's run the fan at 10% on a hot afternoon. My van is moving into the shade. It's not brutally hot out, so this isn't a real hard test, but it's a day you might want some AC on with the humidity. So here we are, we're humming along now after an hour at just under 270 watts. We've used in an hour 0.3 kilowatt hours, so average of 300 watts over the hour, I believe. Would that be I think that's how that works. Wow. Amps. Our low wattage 254, and our high only 554. I thought we had recorded that we got a little higher than that. You know what though, I'd reset it. So as it's been humming along, I had reset it after the initial startup where it got up into the 800s. And since then, it's run there between the 250 and the 550 that you're seeing right here. Forgot about the reset, my bad. And again, I can put a cost in here, but I haven't yet. Probably won't, because I want to know this one right here. What are the watts it's pulling? Little under 300. So let's see how we are inside. I can tell you it's still blowing some warm air out the vent over here. And of course I can now say that if you want to know how to make a custom piece of corrugated whatever, or not corrugated material, but cut it so that it fits in with your window down and lets you do vents and power cords out for car camping. That's a video that is up. It is CH probably 001 on the CampHatch channel. But here we are, looking good. It is comfy in here, and let's just say it is. It says it's trying to get to 74. But this says 85. It does not feel like 85 in here. Interesting. 74, 85. And yet that's what it says. You know, sometimes with the air on, you get that cooling effect. I'm going to switch over and see what the app says. So I'm going to end this video and go see what the app says it is in here. App confirms it's 84 in here. Again, it's a more comfortable 84 in here than it is outside. Probably because I've got this thing blowing right on the top of my bald head, sitting here in the second row. The temperature sensor, by the way, it's sitting back here in the back a little ways away. It also says 85, so we've just confirmed that. That's kind of cool. And what this means is you can, say you're on your solar panels, you want to try to have a little comfort during the day, but you've only got like 3, 100 watt solar panels, so about 300 watts. Well, you can run this Media, if you have just a little bit of battery to get through those peaks, you could run this on 300 watts of solar like this all day. It's going to add some comfort to your indoor. How much? It's going to depend on the outside. Are you sitting in shade? Are you sitting in sun? And how many of you are in the vehicle? That's going to matter too. I have not been sitting in this vehicle while we've been running this 1-hour test. But there you go. You could run it on your solar during the day. Not be if you're getting good solar, you're actually probably still going to be charging the batteries up a little bit, because it was, as we saw outside, it was running a little less than 300 watts, but probably averaging right around 300. Let me just say that's probably wishful thinking that it's charging the batteries, but hey, you're pretty much gonna be able to keep up. It's possible that we could do a little better energy consumption wise with the fan speed lower than 10%. I haven't tried that. 10% sounded like a low enough number. It is moving the air in here just enough that you can feel it when I get my fingers up there. Definitely feel it on my face sitting right here. So yeah, if you want to like sit here and read and get out of the sun and the heat, success story. Again, if you've seen the other videos or parts of this video, however I end up editing all this together, if you're on shore power, if you got some battery, whatever, you can crank this thing up and you can very quickly get a vehicle this size. This is a Toyota Sienna. You can get this down to 74 in a heartbeat with this 1200 BTU unit. But this experiment is just to see what you can do at kind of minimal power consumption. How much AC can you get, and what is the max going to pull? So there you go. It pulled about 800 when we first started it up, and then it went down, and it's been humming along at an average of 300 since then for an hour, and a peak of about 550, and I don't think it got to 550 for very long. It's not pulling us down to our set point of 74. It's only getting us down to 85 with a little bit of sunshine still remaining on the dashboard up there. A lot of things would help, like if I put the dashboard sunscreen things up that we've got, even that with this, because I'm facing south for this test, even that would help. I bet we would get another degree or two with this fan on 10%. Just a reminder, you need the app to adjust the fan speed below 40%. But if you only have the remote or the buttons on the top, you can get down to 40%, and you would get the results you would get. Can't predict what those would be. Any prediction I would make anyway is really just going to depend on the outside conditions and many other factors. This is just to give you a rough idea of what the advantage is of an inverter air conditioner for people that are trying to do off-grid or some off-grid camping, and what's the impact going to be on your battery versus your solar versus any other creative energy source you may happen to have. I can't think of any others that are very popular right now besides those two, but who knows what's coming next. So there you go, a little bit of power consumption from air conditioning information from CampHatch. I hope you find it useful. I, for one, am so glad that I've got this inverter air conditioner. This is this thing's a year old. I just picked it up on Facebook Marketplace for a song, and really, really happy with the investment. like our stuff, follow us. We'd really appreciate it. And keep your eyes out for more. I can't keep up with my ideas as far as getting stuff made and videos. So I hope I take good notes. See you down the road. Be safe. Time for our 2-hour checkup. We're running at 10% fan. About 2 hours on the clock. A little under 300 watts. And we'll go ahead and just step inside. Turn the power doors back on. We'll see back here. Oh, it says we're down to 84. I'm still trying to get down to that set point of 74. So there you go. That's as much as she's doing. It's about 80. I just looked. Hang on. Let's go check in the garage. See what the outside temperature is. I think in the shade of the garage it's about 85. So we're just kind of keeping up with the sun on the roof of that van right now. It's getting into more shade. I'll tell you though, I'm working in the garage on the bed for this camper van. Yeah, 85. So it's a lot more comfortable 85 in the van than it is out, just because of the reduction in the humidity. What a beautiful day. So some more learnings about the operation of our Media Portable AC with inverters that I'm loving. But I wish the app worked just a little bit differently. It seems with the app connected by Wi-Fi, it's linked into the air conditioner itself, and the app's telling me right now that outside it's 87. I think it's getting that from the weather service over the internet. It's telling me that inside it's like 78 and a set point of 74. But on the remote here, it says it's 83 in here. And I've got the little guy on that it's supposed to be reading from the remote, but I think the app is overriding that. And I think it's controlling the machine to what it's reading up here, which is 78. So little discrepancy there. If I change the set point in here, in the remote, it doesn't change it in the app, and it doesn't change the set point on the unit. And the swing doesn't stop the swing. It gives it a beat. Okay, that time it stopped the swing, so it's making a liar out of me. So anyway, it's seems to just be a little interference between the app and the on the phone and the remote here. Now, the remote's showing me that my fan speed is 4 bars, 40%, but the app's giving me a fan speed of 10%, and that 10% is the whole heart of this experiment that we're running this afternoon. You know, what can you do with it at 10%, pulling about 300 watts on average? So I'm really curious if I can get it to stay on 10%, but read the temperature off of this and try to cool it down more. I don't know that it could cool it down more because it's not getting down to the 74 set point up here. It's only getting down to 78. But as the temperature drops outside, the van gets in more shade, or if I turn the fan speed up, I'd really like it to read the remote, but have the fan speed control in the app. May just be wishful thinking. Software developers aren't always in tune with every wish and whim of a user. I get it. I'm going to see if I can figure that out. And if I can, I'll come back and explain how to do it. Well, I was messing around the app. I accidentally powered the unit off at 2.5 hours into our experiment. I'm just doing this to record what our maximum wattage was, because this 2.5 hours started, and it's 0.7 kilowatt hours, 2.5 hours. You do the math. Getting to the low, that's probably right now, and it peaked at 557.4 watts. So that was just humming along at 10% after it had started up. When it started up, it did its slow ramp up into the 800s. I think it was 850. So I have a feeling it's gonna turn back on after its 3-minute timer, and it's gonna go, I'm curious to see what it goes back to, but I have a feeling I'm gonna get more than my 557 here. I'm gonna keep it running, see what happens. Keep the meter running here. Side note, while we're waiting for it to power up, a few minutes ago I turned the swing back on. It's moving that louver up and down. I had it kind of pointing about where it is right now. Just fixed. I turned it back on swing, and it actually dropped the temperature that the interior temperature that it's reading at the unit, which is what it's controlling to over the app. It actually dropped it 2 degrees, down to 76, over just a couple minutes time. So swing, even in the van, might be a good idea. And it sounds like our compressor's just starting back up. I'm gonna go outside and see what we peak at here. Yeah, so we were at 557 before. And it's, yep, compressor came back on, it's climbing. Bad camera work. Yeah, this is more like starting it up from scratch. This is really probably a good little part of this test if you were trying to really get by on a 3 solar panels, 2 or 3, and not pull your battery down during the day running in this mode. This is what would happen if you had a power outage and it returned to its settings. It's not going to kick back on at that 300. It's going to do this brief ramp up here, getting close to 800. I'm going to go over and check my fan, see if it's still at 10% on this restart. Be right back. Yeah, so it still says the fan inside 10%. This one outside, it's blown. It's separately controlled by the processor. We're coming back down now, and so I expect us to stay there. But we've got a new peak on this puppy at 2.5 hours. So I think I know that after it gets down to here, it's going to stay down here in this 250, 550 range, mostly running at 300. So I'm just going to let it keep going here. Keeps our kilowatt hours. There, little unintended test of what happens if, like, you lost power and then it came back on in your system. Back to 300. That fan just slowed down if you couldn't hear it. And inside, I believe we are still, happy at 10%. All right, we're gonna see if I can stay at 10%, but get my remote sensing back on the remote over here. Back to that project. I'll try not to accidentally power the unit off again. So I've been unsuccessful in getting the fan to stay on 10%, but use the remote here as the temperature sensor. Again, the app is just returning the temperature at the unit. That is in their help screen. It says that's what it does. It may be trying to control to this temperature here that's at 82 right now, or it may not be. Again, I've got the little dude on, but it's a little quirky. But when I tried this time, if I change set point here, it would change the set point. It would show it in the app and on the unit, but it would kick the fan speed up to 40%, which is the lowest fan speed that you can run from the app. I'm running on 10% right now, but the remote doesn't show 1 bar for 10%. It still shows the 40. So if it gets a signal from here, I guess it also gets the fan speed at 40 signal. So there you go. Auto on the fan, maybe, but I have a feeling it would speed up to try to get us cooled down to our set point, which is 10 degrees cooler. So again, we're trying this in low power mode, kind of a save the battery. I'm on my solar panels. I just want to keep it comfortable, and I can tell you it is definitely a much more pleasant 82 in here than the 85 outside because of the dehumidification that's going on. This is a nice quiet unit, if you haven't noticed that. So wish the interaction of the app and the remote and the unit itself were a little bit more to exactly what I want, but overall very, very pleased. We're gonna keep going on this test and really just see how long it's gonna take for us to get down to my set point. By the way, I didn't want to kick the fan up to 40% accidentally, so if you can see, I did the lock. I held these two buttons down here until the lock came on, so I can't change the set point from the remote. I can still monitor, and maybe I can turn the LED light on and off. That's a nice feature they have, where you can shut off the LED screen up at the top there, unless you want a night light. If you don't want the night light, you can shut it off. See you in a bit. About 5 hours and 20 minutes ago, we started our 10% fan test. You can see that right now we're pulling 253 watts. It is still daylight out, cooling off. I think it's in the high 80s still, somewhere up around that. And hey, look, we got down to set point inside. So 71 here in the back. And I think it's reading 71 up there too on the app. I'm gonna shut her down. Maybe. Not from here, I'm not. So that again, not always getting good communication from the remote. And now I can't tell which button to push up there. We'll shut her down from the app in a minute. Sorry about that. So back out here, yeah, 200 watts, beautiful. That's with it down to set point, maintaining 71, 72 in there. Comfy sleeping. For 5 hours, we've done about 1.5 kilowatt hours. Volts and amps, low of 2 watts, yeah. And that 781, that was when I accidentally shut it off. I think the max otherwise would be in the 500s. And again, back to 214 now. So that is our test of what happens if you open it up with the fan limited to 10% on a fairly hot afternoon. Well, it ain't bedtime yet, and it's pulled it down really nicely. It's gonna be a nice sunset. It's pulled it down really nicely to 71 degrees in there. And I would say it's probably gonna run from here all night at a real nice 200 to 300 watts out here. Real comfy temperature inside. But just as a little tease to things to come, we're not gonna sleep in it with the air running until I get this futon finished. So look for that in the future. CampHatch out.